The spaceship trembled as it passed through the outer rim of the Xylar cluster. Commander Aaron Hayes gripped the edge of his seat, staring out at the swirling purple nebulae that stretched endlessly into the void. He had flown countless missions in his life, but none like this. Humanity had just made contact with the Illyrians, a species known across the galaxy for their wisdom and their strict laws. Aaron's ship, the Stalwart, had been pulled into their orbit almost immediately. Before he could even send a formal message, a massive energy net immobilized the vessel. Lights flashed across the control panel as alarms screamed, but Aaron remained calm. "They want us to come in," he muttered to himself. A moment later, the docking clamps of the Illyrian station attached themselves to the Stalwart. The station itself was breathtaking. Towering spires glowed with a soft bioluminescent light, and translucent walkways curved around massive gardens that floated in zero gravity. Aaron felt a strange mix of fear and awe. Humans were visitors in a world far beyond their understanding. When the airlock opened, Aaron was greeted not by a soldier, but by a figure that seemed taller than a human and moved with an elegance he could barely comprehend. Her skin shimmered faintly in shades of silver and blue, and her eyes glowed like twin moons. "Commander Aaron Hayes," she said, her voice melodic yet commanding. "You are to come with us. The council awaits." Aaron swallowed. "The council? The Illyrian council?" "Nine." She inclined her head slightly. "Yes. They have decided that your presence is required for judgment." Judgment? The word echoed in Aaron's mind. He had encountered alien species before, some hostile, some friendly, but none so revered, none so mysterious. And now, he was being summoned before the highest authority in their civilization. The corridors of the Illyrian station were unlike anything Aaron had seen. The walls seemed to pulse with life, and soft light danced across intricate carvings that hinted at history spanning millennia. He followed his guide silently, careful not to make any wrong move. He had been trained for diplomacy and survival, but nothing could have prepared him for the grandeur and weight of Illyrian law. Finally, they reached a vast chamber. It was circular, with a high domed ceiling that reflected light like water. In the center, an elevated dais held the council, a group of Illyrians seated with a presence that radiated authority. Each one was striking, their forms elegant and alien. They watched him with eyes that seemed to pierce into his thoughts. "Commander Hayes," the tallest among them began, her voice echoing in the chamber. "You have been found trespassing in the Rhinal sector without proper clearance. Furthermore, your ship has collected data that belongs to the Council. These are not ordinary infractions. They violate our laws." Aaron tried to remain calm. "I assure you, we meant no harm. We are explorers, not invaders." A ripple of sounds, almost like a collective hum, passed through the council. The lead Illyrian raised her hand. "Intent does not excuse action. Human law is not binding here. You are under the judgment of the council. To proceed, you must undergo the trial of worthiness." Aaron froze. Trial of worthiness? The Illyrian's gaze was unwavering. "Yes. The trial is designed to test courage, intelligence, and adaptability. It is the only path for you to prove that humanity can coexist with our species. Failure carries consequences you are not prepared to face." Aaron felt a chill. He had faced hostile worlds, black holes, and alien predators, but a trial imposed by a species so advanced, so wise it was a challenge unlike any other. Still, he forced himself to stand tall. "I accept the trial," he said, his voice steady, despite the storm of uncertainty inside him. The council made no immediate response. They simply observed him, as if reading the truth of his statement from his very soul. After a moment, the lead Illyrian nodded. "Very well. The trial begins at dawn, in the arena of reflection." You will be accompanied by guides who will ensure that you reach the location safely. Consider this your first lesson. Trust is earned, not given. Aaron was escorted to a chamber for humans, which, surprisingly, was comfortable. It contained a bed, a small table, and a viewport showing the sprawling station gardens. Yet, no matter the luxury, Aaron felt the weight of what was coming. He had been judged, convicted, and given a path that could either honor humanity or doom it in the eyes of the Illyrians. That night, sleep did not come easily. Aaron thought of his crew, left aboard the Stalwart, vulnerable in orbit. He thought of Earth, small and fragile against the immensity of the galaxy, and he thought of the trial of worthiness, looming ahead. A test designed by minds that had seen centuries pass and civilizations rise and fall. When dawn came, Aaron followed his guides into the central spire. The arena of reflection was unlike any battlefield he had imagined. It was a vast space of shifting platforms, streams of light, and floating symbols. The air seemed charged with energy, and every step he took caused the arena to respond, creating pathways and challenges in real time. A voice echoed through the arena, gentle but firm. "Commander Hayes, your first test is one of perception. You must find the core of the arena before it finds you. Only then can you proceed to the next stage." Aaron's training kicked in. He analyzed the patterns of movement in the floating platforms, noted the timing of the energy streams, and began his careful navigation. Each step tested his agility, patience, and intellect. Every wrong move triggered harmless but illuminating shocks of light that reminded him the arena was alive, aware, and constantly assessing him. Hours passed. Time felt distorted in the arena. Aaron felt exhaustion creeping in, but he pushed forward. He relied on human intuition, improvisation, and the simple stubbornness that had carried his species through countless trials on their own planet. Finally, he reached a glowing pedestal at the center of the arena. The energy around it pulsed warmly, as if recognizing his presence. A soft hum filled the chamber, and a holographic image of the council appeared before him. "You have passed the first stage," the lead Illyrian said. "Your courage and adaptability are evident. But remember, this is only the beginning. The trial of worthiness will test more than skill. It will test the essence of what it means to be human." Aaron breathed heavily, but a small smile formed. Humanity had survived countless challenges, often against impossible odds. He would not fail now. He was far from home, judged by beings who saw centuries as mere moments, but he carried with him the ingenuity, resilience, and heart of his species. The arena shifted around him, preparing for the next stage. Aaron took a deep breath. The trial was only beginning, and already he felt a spark of excitement. This was more than survival, it was an opportunity to show the universe what humanity could truly achieve. As he stepped forward into the next corridor, the voice of the Illyrian Council echoed one last time. "Remember, Commander Hayes, in the trial of worthiness, the mind, heart, and courage of humanity will be your greatest weapons and your only allies." Aaron nodded, determination burning in his chest. Whatever lay ahead, he would face it not just as a human, but as a representative of an entire species striving to claim its place among the stars. The arena shifted again, the glowing platforms dissolving into thin air, leaving Aaron standing on a single, translucent bridge that stretched across a seemingly endless void. The hum of energy filled the space, vibrating softly under his feet, as if the arena itself was alive and aware of his every heartbeat. He took a deep breath. The first stage had been a test of perception, and he had passed. But this second stage felt different. It was not just about movement or strategy, it was about understanding, reasoning, and patience. A holographic voice echoed across the void. "Commander Hayes, the second stage will test your judgment and decision-making under pressure. You must retrieve the light crystals from the floating pillars, But beware. Some pillars conceal illusions that will mislead you. Aaron frowned. Illusions? He muttered. Not just challenges, but tricks too. He looked across the expanse. Hundreds of pillars floated in perfect formation, each glowing softly in blue and silver. At first glance, every pillar appeared identical. But he knew from experience that appearances were rarely reliable. Aaron began walking, carefully examining each pillar. His human instincts kicked in. He remembered the stories of Earth's explorers who had survived deserts, jungles, and mountains through observation and patience. He could rely on those same instincts here. As he approached the first pillar, a ripple of light shimmered across its surface. He reached out, and the light faded, revealing a holographic replica, perfectly lifelike, but hollow. Aaron shook his head. "Trick," he whispered. "I need to observe patterns, not just act on instinct." He stepped back, scanning the pillars carefully. Each one pulsed at a slightly different rhythm. Some had subtle vibrations. Some emitted faint sounds, almost like whispers in a language he could not understand. He realized that the arena was communicating, giving him clues if he paid attention. Aaron started to move systematically, noting patterns in the pillar's pulses. When a pillar's light shimmered twice in rapid succession, it was real. When it pulsed slowly and evenly, it was false. It was a simple code, but it required careful attention, something he excelled at. Hours passed as he navigated the pillars, collecting the light crystals with deliberate precision. The arena tested him constantly. Sudden gusts of energy threatened to push him off the bridges. Platforms shifted beneath his feet, and illusory duplicates tried to confuse his perception. But he relied on human adaptability, adjusting his pace and strategy with every new challenge. At one point, a massive holographic projection of the Council appeared before him. "Commander Hayes, patience and observation are qualities of a worthy being. Remember, a rushed action is often worse than inaction. Take your time." Aaron nodded, appreciating the subtle lesson. Humanity had survived on Earth not by rushing blindly into danger, but by thinking, planning, and observing. He would apply the same principles here. As he collected the final light crystal, the arena reacted. A glowing pathway appeared, guiding him to a central platform. The energy around him pulsed warmly, signaling completion of the stage. But just as he stepped forward, the platform beneath him tilted suddenly, sending him sliding toward a glowing barrier. Aaron reacted instinctively, jumping to a stable pillar mid-slide. The barrier emitted a gentle pulse, harmless but clearly a warning. The arena is testing not just intelligence, but reflexes and adaptability, he realized. He smiled faintly. Humans had always faced unpredictable situations, and often thrived. Finally, Aaron reached the central platform. The light crystals floated above it, arranging themselves into a pyramid. The voice of the Council returned. "You have succeeded in the second stage. Your mind and judgment are commendable. But the trial of worthiness is not yet complete. Stage 3 will test your creativity, resourcefulness, and cooperation." Aaron exhaled, feeling a mixture of relief and anticipation. He had faced perception, patience, and judgment. But now, it seemed, the trial would require something more than individual skill. He wondered what the Council had planned next. A doorway appeared in the air, leading to a chamber unlike anything he had seen. It was circular, like the arena, but smaller and more intimate. In the center, a glowing structure resembled a puzzle, with multiple layers that moved independently. Around it were several other platforms, each with human-like figures projected in soft light. Aaron realized these were holograms, but they moved unpredictably, interacting with the puzzle. A holographic guide appeared beside him, Stage 3 requires cooperation. You must align the layers of the puzzle using the holographic avatars. Each action you take affects multiple layers. Communication, strategy, and understanding of cause and effect are key. Aaron took a deep breath and studied the puzzle. The layers rotated in 3 dimensions, each adorned with symbols that seemed to shift subtly as he moved. The avatars reacted to his movements, sometimes cooperating, sometimes moving against him. He realized quickly that the challenge was not just about solving the puzzle, it was about understanding patterns, anticipating responses, and thinking ahead. He began experimenting. Rotating one layer caused another to shift unexpectedly. The avatar's movements, at first chaotic, began to form patterns. Aaron noted these patterns, predicting how each layer would respond. He adjusted his actions, learning from mistakes, and refining his approach with each trial. Time passed differently in the chamber. Minutes stretched into hours as Aaron worked tirelessly, never giving up. His human persistence, ingenuity, and analytical thinking allowed him to understand the puzzle more deeply than any simple trial could measure. Finally, with a deliberate turn of the final layer, the puzzle aligned perfectly. The holographic avatars froze, their expressions reflecting approval. The glowing structure emitted a warm pulse, and the chamber brightened, signaling success. The council's voice filled the space once more. Commander Hayes, your creativity, adaptability, and perseverance are remarkable. Humanity's resourcefulness is evident. Yet, the final stage awaits. This stage will test your courage, resilience, and moral judgment. It is here that your true worth will be revealed. Aaron felt a surge of determination. Each stage had tested him differently. But he had succeeded because he relied not only on skill, but on the very qualities that defined humans: observation, patience, ingenuity, and courage. The final stage would be the ultimate challenge, and he would face it with the same resolve. As he moved toward the portal leading to the next stage, the arena shifted again. The floor beneath him dissolved into a swirling mist, and the walls projected images of vast galaxies, distant worlds, and civilizations at the edge of existence. It was a reminder of the stakes. Aaron smiled faintly. Humanity was small in the grand scheme of the universe, yet capable of extraordinary feats. The Illyrian trial was a test, yes, but it was also an opportunity to demonstrate the potential of his species. He stepped forward into the mist, ready to face whatever awaited him. The trial of worthiness was far from over, but Aaron Hayes was determined. Humans were survivors, thinkers, and innovators. He would not fail, not when so much was at stake. The voice of the council echoed one last time as he vanished into the swirling mist. Commander Hayes, remember this: a worthy being is measured not only by success, but by how they face challenges, adapt, and inspire others. Your journey continues. Aaron's heart pounded with excitement. The trial had pushed him to the limits of perception, judgment, and cooperation. The final stage awaited, promising a test that would challenge the essence of humanity itself. But he was ready. Humans had faced the impossible before, and they would do so again. As he moved forward, the swirling mist enveloped him completely. The arena was no longer just a place of challenge. It had become a mirror of the universe itself, reflecting the potential, courage, and ingenuity that humanity carried within. Aaron stepped forward into the swirling mist, feeling the cold edge of uncertainty brush against his senses. The arena had shifted once more, transforming from the orderly chambers he had navigated so far into a vast, open expanse that seemed to stretch into infinity. Stars, nebulae, and distant galaxies swirled around him in a dazzling display. Yet the ground beneath his feet was fragile and uneven, like a glass bridge suspended over an endless void. He paused. The first 2 stages had tested perception, judgment, and cooperation. This stage, the final stage, before the Council's ultimate judgment, felt different. It was personal. It demanded courage, resilience, and moral clarity. Aaron's heart beat faster, but he refused to let fear take hold. Humanity had faced unimaginable dangers and emerged stronger. He would do the same here. A soft voice echoed across the arena, calm yet resonant. Commander Hayes, the final stage will test the strength of your character. You must navigate the labyrinth of reflection. Inside, you will encounter illusions, challenges, and choices that will question your courage and your morality. Only by staying true to yourself and to the principles of humanity will you succeed. Aaron took a deep breath and stepped forward. The bridge beneath him dissolved, replaced by a swirling vortex of lights that gradually formed a solid pathway, leading into a dense fog. The fog shifted constantly, making it impossible to see what lay ahead. He could hear whispers and murmurs, faint echoes of voices from his past. But he could not linger on them. He moved cautiously, testing each step. The arena reacted to his presence. Sometimes the floor would tilt, forcing him to balance carefully. Other times, walls would rise out of the mist, creating passages he had to navigate with precision. It was as though the arena was alive, adjusting to his every move, probing for hesitation or weakness. Aaron soon realized the labyrinth was more than a physical challenge. Shapes appeared in the fog, some resembling fallen comrades, others reflecting moments of fear or doubt he had experienced in his life. Each illusion sought to distract him, to shake his confidence, but he drew on the human ability to persevere, to focus on a goal despite uncertainty. At one point, he faced a massive chasm stretching across his path. On the other side, a glowing pedestal beckoned, but there was no bridge. He could see fragments of a pathway floating in the air, shifting randomly. He could jump blindly and hope for the best, or he could observe the patterns, timing his movements with precision. Aaron chose observation. He watched the floating platforms, noting how they shifted in rhythm with the pulsing energy of the arena. Then, he moved carefully, stepping onto the first fragment, then the next, until he reached the pedestal safely. Each step required concentration, patience, and courage. One misstep could have meant falling into the void, yet he pressed forward, relying on the same qualities that had kept humanity alive for millennia. As he reached the pedestal, a holographic figure appeared, depicting an Illyrian council member. Well done, Commander Hayes. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. Remember this lesson, for the labyrinth ahead will test more than skill. It will test your character. Aaron exhaled and continued. The labyrinth grew more complex. Paths twisted in impossible ways, creating intersections that seemed to loop back upon themselves. Shadows moved across the walls, forming shapes meant to intimidate or confuse. Aaron remained steady. He reminded himself that fear was natural, but panic was optional. Humans had survived wars, natural disasters, and the vacuum of space by staying calm under pressure. He would apply the same principle now. Soon, Aaron encountered his first moral challenge. Two pathways opened before him. On the left, a figure resembling a young human child called for help, trapped on a narrow platform suspended over the void. On the right, a glowing gate led toward the next stage, safe and direct, but ignoring the child would leave it behind. The voice of the council echoed, "Commander Hayes, the choice before you is yours alone. Will you act with compassion or prioritize your own safety?" Aaron's mind raced. His training told him to advance efficiently and complete the trial, but his humanity told him something else. He remembered the lessons of Earth. Humans were strongest when they acted with empathy and courage, even at risk to themselves. He stepped toward the child. Quote, the platform beneath him shook violently as he moved. Energy streams pulsed unpredictably, forcing him to balance carefully. Reaching the child, he extended his hand. "Don't worry," he said softly. "I've got you." He pulled the child to safety and placed them on a stable platform. The child smiled briefly, then faded away into light, a reminder that the test was not real, but designed to measure his instincts and morality. The arena seemed to pulse with approval. A bridge materialized toward the next section. Aaron felt a surge of confidence. He had made the right choice, following not just logic, but the principles that defined humanity: courage, compassion, and integrity. The labyrinth continued to challenge him, now testing not only his bravery, but also his resilience. In one area, walls closed in around him, forcing him to climb a series of vertical energy shafts. In another, holographic creatures simulated danger, snapping at his heels and forcing him to move quickly. Each trial pushed him to the limit, yet he adapted with ingenuity. He used his tools, his body, and his mind in combination, always thinking ahead, always observing the arena's behavior. Hours passed, though Aaron could not measure time in the shifting labyrinth. He encountered illusions that reflected his deepest fears: being lost, failing his crew, letting humanity down. Each time, he took a deep breath, reminded himself of past victories, and pressed on. Humans were defined by resilience, by the ability to rise again even when the odds seemed impossible. He would not falter now. At last, he reached the heart of the labyrinth. A vast, circular chamber with a pedestal in the center, glowing brightly. Surrounding it were projections of countless civilizations, some thriving, some fallen, reminding Aaron of the stakes. He understood the final lesson. Courage alone was not enough. One had to act with purpose, with awareness, and with consideration for others. Aaron approached the pedestal, and the energy of the chamber enveloped him. A voice echoed, calm and resonant. "Commander Hayes, you have faced fear, uncertainty, and moral choice. You have acted with courage, compassion, and resilience. The final measure of worthiness is upon you. Are you ready to demonstrate the essence of humanity?" "Ah." Aaron nodded, his heart steady. "Yes, I am ready." The chamber shifted once more. Holographic scenarios appeared, each representing a potential future: conflicts among civilizations, opportunities for cooperation, discoveries waiting to be made. Aaron realized that the arena was testing his ability to think beyond himself, to make choices that would benefit not just one individual, but many. He had to show that humans were capable of foresight, responsibility, and leadership. He studied the scenarios carefully. One path offered immediate reward, but risked harm to other civilizations. Another required patience, careful planning, and sacrifice, but promised lasting benefit. Aaron chose the latter, arranging the energy flows to stabilize the projections and protect the civilizations. The arena pulsed with approval, its energy warm and steady. The voice of the council echoed one final time. "Commander Hayes, your courage, resilience, and wisdom are evident. Humanity has proven itself worthy. You have faced the trial of worthiness with the qualities that define your species. Your actions honor not only yourself, but all of humankind." Aaron exhaled, relief washing over him. The labyrinth dissolved, replaced by a view of the Illyrian station's central chamber. The council awaited, their eyes filled with respect. For the first time, Aaron sensed that he had passed not just a trial of skill, but a trial of character. As he stepped forward to meet the council, the leader spoke, her voice gentle but filled with authority. "Commander Hayes, you have shown that humanity possesses courage, ingenuity, and moral clarity. You have adapted, persevered, and acted with integrity. These are the qualities that will allow your species to thrive among the stars. You are a worthy representative of humanity. HFY? Aaron bowed slightly. Thank you. It is my honor to represent humanity. The council nodded, and the chamber seemed to shimmer with approval. The trial was complete, but Aaron understood that this was more than a personal victory. It was a validation of humanity itself, a reminder that even small, fragile earthlings could rise to meet challenges that seemed impossible. As he returned to the observation deck of the arena, Aaron felt a surge of pride and hope. The trial of worthiness had tested perception, judgment, cooperation, courage, and morality. Humans had prevailed because of qualities that no technology or weapon could replicate. Ingenuity, empathy, persistence, and courage. The voice of the council echoed one final time. Commander Hayes, humanity has passed the trial of worthiness. Yet your journey is not over. The final stage, the council's final decision, awaits. Prepare yourself, for the future of your species may depend upon it. Aaron smiled faintly. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and impossible choices, and emerged stronger. Humanity had proven itself worthy. Whatever awaited in the council's chambers, he knew he would meet it with the same qualities that had carried humans through millennia. As he walked toward the chamber where the final judgment would be given, Aaron felt a profound sense of purpose. Humanity was small, fragile, and often underestimated, but it was capable of greatness. He would carry that truth with him into the next stage of the trial of worthiness, ready to demonstrate once again the resilience, ingenuity, and courage that defined his species. Aaron stepped through the doorway, leaving behind the swirling illusions of the labyrinth. Ahead of him stretched the council chamber, grander than anything he had yet seen. The chamber was circular, lined with towering crystalline columns that refracted the soft light into 1,000 colors. The Illyrian council awaited at the far end, their forms bathed in a glow that seemed both serene and commanding. The air was silent, except for the faint hum of the chamber's energy. Aaron felt a weight settle on his shoulders. This was the moment he had prepared for, the moment that would determine not only his fate, but the status of humanity in the eyes of the Illyrians. He walked forward, each step echoing softly against the crystalline floor. The council watched him, without speaking. The lead Illyrian, taller than the others, motioned for him to stop. "Commander Hayes," she said, her voice calm yet authoritative. "You have completed the trial of worthiness. Your courage, ingenuity, and morality have been observed and tested. But before we render our final judgment, you must demonstrate one final quality: understanding." Aaron nodded. "Understanding?" he asked. "Yes," the lead Illyrian replied. "Knowledge without empathy is incomplete. Skill without perspective is hollow. You must now answer questions that will reveal how you perceive cooperation, leadership, and the potential of humanity among the stars." The council members shifted, their eyes glowing faintly as they projected a series of holographic images into the air. Each image depicted a situation in which humanity or other species faced critical choices. Decisions about resource sharing, conflict resolution, technological development, and interstellar diplomacy. Aaron studied the images carefully. The first scenario showed two civilizations at the brink of war over limited energy resources. One option suggested immediate intervention by humans, using force to stop the conflict. Another suggested mediation, creating dialogue and cooperation between the civilizations. He paused. The Illyrians were not asking for tactical brilliance. They wanted to see how humanity would approach responsibility, morality, and foresight. Aaron spoke clearly, his words measured. "I would choose mediation. Violence may stop a conflict temporarily, but lasting peace requires understanding, communication, and compromise. Humans have survived because we adapt, learn from mistakes, and cooperate even with those who seem different from us." A ripple of approval passed through the council, almost imperceptible but deeply felt. The second scenario appeared. A planet faced ecological collapse, threatening the lives of billions of its inhabitants. Advanced technology could provide relief, but it would require humans to share critical knowledge and risk their own resources. Aaron considered the image carefully. He remembered Earth's own struggles with limited resources and environmental challenges. He nodded and said, "I would share the technology. Survival should not come at the cost of others." Humans have learned that cooperation and responsibility are essential for survival, and we would do what we could to help. This is the measure of civilization, how we treat those in need. The Illyrians observed silently. Aaron continued, moving through scenario after scenario. Cases of ethical dilemmas, cross-cultural misunderstandings, and moral choices, with no easy answers. Each time, he considered not only the practical solution but the underlying principles: empathy, integrity, and the potential for collaboration. Hours seemed to pass as Aaron navigated the final phase of the trial. He could feel the weight of every decision, every statement, and every judgment. Yet, he remained composed. Humanity had survived through intellect, resilience, and moral courage. He trusted in those qualities now more than ever. Finally, the holograms faded, leaving only the council members before him. The chamber was silent for a long moment, and Aaron held his breath. Then, the lead Illyrian spoke, her voice carrying a resonance that seemed to vibrate through the floor itself. "Commander Hayes, you have demonstrated courage, ingenuity, compassion, and understanding. You have faced challenges that tested every aspect of humanity. Your decisions reflect not only intelligence but the wisdom of a species capable of growth and cooperation. You have proven that humans are worthy of joining the wider interstellar community." Aaron exhaled, relief flooding through him. Every trial, every test, every illusion had led to this moment. The weight of responsibility and anticipation he had carried for days suddenly felt lighter. Humanity had been judged, and it had passed. But the lead Illyrian raised her hand, and the chamber fell silent once more. The trial of worthiness is complete, but it also serves as a reminder. Every species faces challenges, both external and internal. Courage, morality, and ingenuity must be paired with vigilance and adaptability. Commander Hayes, your final task is to propose a path forward for humanity's first contact with our civilization. Your answer will define not only your role, but the role of all humans. Aaron considered carefully. He knew the Illyrians would not accept a narrow or selfish plan. They sought evidence that humans could think beyond themselves, act responsibly, and contribute meaningfully to interstellar society. He took a deep breath and spoke. "Illyrian Council, humanity is young in the cosmos, yet capable of great growth. Our species has faced countless trials on Earth, climate, disease, conflict, and we have learned resilience, innovation, and cooperation. If humanity is to interact with your civilization, we must do so with humility, openness, and a commitment to learning. We will share knowledge, respect laws, and collaborate to ensure the safety and prosperity of all involved. And in return, we hope to contribute what we can, our creativity, our courage, and our willingness to rise to challenges that seem impossible. Humanity is not perfect, but we are capable of growth and of becoming a force for good in the universe." The chamber fell silent once more. Aaron waited, unsure of what to expect. The Illyrians' expressions were unreadable, their forms serene, yet imposing. Then the lead Illyrian inclined her head slightly. "Your words reflect both wisdom and humility," she said. "You have considered not only your own survival, but the welfare of others. This is the mark of a worthy being. Humanity, represented by Commander Hayes, has demonstrated qualities that make it ready to interact with the wider interstellar community. You have passed the trial of worthiness. Access. Aaron felt a surge of pride and hope. Humanity, small and often underestimated, had earned its place among the stars. He had carried the weight of an entire species through trials that tested perception, judgment, cooperation, courage, morality, and vision, and emerged victorious. The council extended a series of glowing symbols into the air, representing a gesture of trust and recognition. Aaron realized these symbols were a form of interstellar diplomacy, an invitation for humans to engage with the Illyrians as equals. Commander Hayes, the lead Illyrian, said, "Your trial is complete, but your journey is just beginning. You carry with you the responsibility not only to represent humanity, but to demonstrate the qualities that will define our relationship. Go forward with courage, wisdom, and the knowledge that you have earned trust." Aaron bowed. "Thank you. I will not fail," the council observed as he turned toward the exit. The chamber seemed to shimmer, as if acknowledging his success. Outside, the Illyrian station stretched endlessly, a city of light and energy, offering a glimpse of the civilizations that humanity might one day encounter. Aaron walked steadily, reflecting on the trial. Every challenge had required him to rely not only on skill, but on the qualities that defined humans. Resilience in the face of fear, creativity in the face of complexity, and morality in the face of temptation. These qualities had allowed humans to survive on a small, fragile planet, and they had carried him through the trial of worthiness. As he reached the observation deck overlooking the station gardens, Aaron felt a profound sense of connection not just to the Illyrians, but to his own species. Humanity had survived, adapted, and grown through countless trials. Now, in this new and vast universe, there was a chance to rise even higher. The voice of the council echoed one final time, a soft resonance that seemed to blend with the hum of the station. "Commander Hayes, you have succeeded. Humanity is ready. The future is yours to shape, and your actions will define not only your path, but the path of your species. Go forth with wisdom, courage, and the spirit that has brought you this far." Aaron stood quietly, looking out over the glowing gardens, the floating platforms, and the shimmering towers of the Illyrian station. He knew the trials were over, but the work had just begun. Humanity had proven its worthiness. But now it was time to take that responsibility seriously. He turned back toward the exit, determination burning in his chest. The final stage of the trial had not just tested him, it had prepared him. Prepared him to lead, to inspire, and to represent a species capable of resilience, ingenuity, and moral clarity. Aaron Hayes, commander of the Stalwart, had passed the trial of worthiness. Humanity had been judged, and it had been found worthy. But this was only the beginning. Ahead lay the challenge of building trust, forging alliances, and exploring the universe with courage and wisdom. The council watched silently as he departed, their approval evident but unspoken. The journey of humanity among the stars was just beginning, and Aaron would lead the way with the qualities that had carried his species through countless challenges: heart, mind, and courage. The Illyrian station shimmered under the soft light of distant stars, a symbol of trust and possibility. And in that moment, Aaron knew that the trial had not only tested him, but had also illuminated the potential of humanity itself, a species small in size but immense in courage, creativity, and spirit. The Illyrian station was alive with a quiet energy as Aaron Hayes stepped out of the council chamber. Every surface glowed faintly, reflecting the soft light of distant stars. Though he had completed the trial of worthiness, the weight of responsibility had not lifted. Humanity's future now rested partly in his hands, and he felt both proud and humbled. The Council's approval had granted humanity its first opportunity to join the wider interstellar community, but that approval was not a gift. It was a responsibility, a challenge, and a test that would continue beyond the walls of the Illyrian station. Aaron understood that. He walked toward the observation deck overlooking the station gardens. Floating platforms carried glowing plants and streams of light, moving gracefully in zero gravity. It was breathtaking, a reminder that intelligence and creativity could shape entire worlds. Aaron's mind wandered to Earth, small and fragile, but brimming with potential. Humanity had survived millennia through adaptability, ingenuity, and resilience qualities that had carried him through the trials. A holographic guide appeared beside him, one of the same figures that had accompanied him during the earlier stages. Commander Hayes, the Council has prepared your crew for integration. They await your guidance. Aaron nodded. I will meet them. He moved to the docking bay, where the crew of the Stalwart had been brought aboard, under Illyrian observation. Their eyes widened at the sight of the Illyrian technology ships that hovered without engines. Energy fields that bent light. Gardens that floated as if gravity were a suggestion rather than a law. Yet there was no fear, only curiosity and excitement. Aaron addressed them clearly. We have been tested, but we have passed. This is a chance for humanity to learn, to grow, and to contribute. We have proven our courage, intelligence, and morality. Now we must act with the same principles in everything we do. The crew listened, inspired by his words. They had faced uncertainty, isolation, and the unknown, but they had survived together. Now, as representatives of humanity, they had a chance to take a small but meaningful place among the stars. The Illyrians guided the humans to a grand hall where new technologies were demonstrated. Holographic maps of star systems, energy conduits spanning hundreds of light years, and devices that translated thought into communication were displayed with elegance. Aaron's crew marveled, but he remained focused on the mission, learning, understanding, and integrating with care and respect. The lead Illyrian approached him once more. Commander Hayes, the final stage of your journey is not a test of skill, but of vision. Humanity has passed the trial of worthiness, but the true trial begins now. Will your species rise to the challenge of cooperation, innovation, and responsibility in a galaxy that is vast and complex? Aaron met her gaze. We will. Humans are small, but we are resilient, resourceful, and capable of growth. We will not waste this opportunity. We will learn, contribute, and act responsibly. We will not waste the Sopsov. We will not waste the Sopsov. The Illyrian inclined her head. Then proceed. The Council grants humanity the right to engage in interstellar relations under Illyrian guidance. You will have mentors, advisors, and access to our knowledge. Use it wisely. 1. Aaron nodded, a deep sense of purpose filling him. Humanity had not just survived the trial, they had earned a chance to rise above isolation and limitation. This was the reward of perseverance, courage, and morality. Over the following weeks, Aaron and his crew trained alongside the Illyrians, learning not only advanced technology but also principles of diplomacy, ethics, and strategic thinking on an interstellar scale. The humans adapted quickly, showing creativity and ingenuity in ways that even the Illyrians had not anticipated. They devised new methods for energy collection, improved communications protocols, and offered perspectives that came from a species untested in space, yet unafraid to innovate. One day, as Aaron walked among the gardens, he observed an Illyrian mentor watching humans interact with floating energy interfaces. The humans had arranged them into a complex map, showing potential trade routes and communication networks between multiple species. The Illyrian turned to him. Remarkable. They see possibilities that we, with centuries of experience, often overlook. Aaron smiled. That's humanity. We adapt, we experiment, and we persist. We have to. Our survival has depended on it for thousands of years. The mentor nodded. Indeed, it is why your species is worthy. Courage and creativity combined with empathy are rare in the galaxy. Aaron reflected on that. The trial of worthiness had measured not only his courage and judgment, but also the essence of humanity itself. The ability to rise above fear, solve complex problems, and act with moral clarity. That essence was now visible to the Illyrians, guiding their trust in humans. Weeks turned into months. Humans became active participants in Illyrian research, diplomacy, and exploration initiatives. They traveled to nearby star systems, establishing contact with new civilizations, mediating disputes, and sharing knowledge. Aaron watched his species grow, adapt, and earn respect through actions rather than words. One particular mission demonstrated humanity's value in a profound way. A planet with two intelligent species was on the brink of conflict over a shared resource. The Illyrians had observed from afar, unsure of how to intervene. Aaron proposed a plan, using a combination of diplomacy, technology, and mutual education. He guided the two species to a compromise that preserved the resource, respected each culture, and fostered long-term cooperation. The Illyrians observed closely, and afterward, the lead Illyrian approached Aaron. "Your solution was elegant and humane. It demonstrates the qualities we observed during your trial. Humanity is not just worthy of participation, it can serve as a model for cooperation among diverse civilizations." Aaron felt pride, not for himself, but for his species. Humanity had proven that small, determined beings from a fragile planet could rise to meet challenges that spanned worlds and stars. Their ingenuity, morality, and courage were now visible to civilizations far beyond Earth. Back aboard the Stalwart, Aaron gathered his crew. "Look at what we've achieved," he said. "We've proven ourselves in the trial of worthiness. But now, we are doing more than surviving. We are thriving. Humanity is learning, growing, and making a difference. That is the essence of who we are." The crew cheered softly, not out of triumph over conquest, but out of pride in their contribution and potential. Aaron's leadership had guided them through trials, but it was their collective courage, ingenuity, and dedication that had ensured success. As the ship floated in orbit around the Illyrian station, Aaron looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and challenges, but also opportunities. Humanity had been given a chance to step beyond Earth and demonstrate what it was capable of. They had earned the trust of an advanced civilization, proven their worth, and begun a journey that would shape the future. The Illyrian Council sent a final message to the humans, echoing through the ship's communication systems. "Commander Hayes, humanity has shown it is worthy not through power or force, but through courage, ingenuity, and morality. You have earned our trust, and with it, the opportunity to shape your place among the stars. Go forward with wisdom, compassion, and the spirit that has brought you this far." Aaron nodded, feeling the weight of their words. Humanity's story was only beginning, but the first chapter had been written in courage, intelligence, and honor. They had risen to challenges that no other species might have faced, and in doing so, had proven the limitless potential of their kind. As the stars stretched endlessly before him, Aaron knew one thing clearly. Humanity was small, but it was capable of greatness. They had survived impossible odds on their home planet, adapted to challenges beyond comprehension, and now stood ready to take their place among the civilizations of the galaxy. He turned to his crew, a smile on his face. "We've passed the trial. Now, let's see what humanity can truly do." And with that, the Stalwart prepared for its next journey, one not just of survival, but of exploration, cooperation, and the unyielding spirit that defined humans. The galaxy awaited, vast and full of possibility. Humanity had been judged and found worthy. Their story among the stars had only just begun, and the courage, ingenuity, and morality that had carried them this far would guide them into the unknown. Aaron Hayes looked out at the stars, and for the first time in his life, He felt not fear, but a profound sense of purpose. Humanity had proven itself capable. The universe was wide, and the future was theirs to shape.